the state of mind, the requisite discipline, the determination to make a difference rests with the citizens. Technology does not function on its own. It's human beings that operate it. Do you know Nigeria has one of the best technologies, even better than that of South Africa?
When it comes to election?
When it comes to election. A lot of African countries come to Nigeria to take, manuscript, to take lectures on how to improve on the electoral system. But where we have problem is the citizens, those who man this technology. Do they want to make things right?
This is Volume with FemiDlive. Yes, as always, excited to have you on part of the conversation. As you already know, this podcast, as much as we can, we cover political issues, national issues, and socioeconomic issues. And guest of renowned achievements, as always, is the people we bring to you. And there's no exception with the type of person we've brought in today. And I'll let you in a short while on who he is. Yes, we look forward to your comments as always. It's been very interesting reading some of the things you've been writing. And for many of you who've become an evangelist of the show by sharing and talking about the show and telling us some of the things you want to see, we're grateful to you. And yes, also we're excited to announce our partnership with the Cable NG. You will see much of our work on their YouTube channel and on our channel, and articles about some of these interviews that we do on their platform. So we're excited that we've made that remarkable step. Thanks for all your support in getting us going, and there's more to cover. My guest today is Dr. Gabriel Nwambu. He is the Director General of Credible Leadership and Citizen Awareness. Well, you want to know what that is? We're about to find out. He's been a strong advocate for how things should be around elections, but he has taken special focus to look at how citizens should respond to government policies, and also how citizens should be aware of the type of policies that best befits our society, considering the fact that we're a very multiplicity kind of society in the nature that we've come to be so far. He's my guest today, and we'll be speaking extensively about some of the next steps for INEC, and yes, next steps for Nigeria in the 2027 election. I'm FemD Amele. Welcome to the show. Dr. Gabriel, good to have you on.
Good to have me here. Good morning.
Good morning. Long time. Sorry for the abandonment. It's not in my reputation to do so. I try to keep some of my top achievers very close by, and I'm glad you're one of them, as always.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, let's dig into this as much as we can. The tenure, the time of any INEC chairman is always marred with highs and lows, as one would imagine. There was Professor Jega before Professor Mahmood Yakubu, and when Professor Jega was leaving, much of it was about, what he did in terms of technology. And now, Professor Mahmood Yakubu is done. Some would wonder if there's an achievement in what he has done in the last 10 years. Do you think so?
Yeah, thank you so much once again. You see, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, is a professor of history, and assumed position of INEC, following his appointment by the late president, former president Muhammadu Buhari in 2015. Now, he met some level of introduction to technology by Atahiru Jega. Atahiru Jega brought what we call the card reader. The card reader was something like a preliminary introduction to technology, So with the card reader and the smart card reader also, Professor Mahmood now came in and brought in very serious technological know-how into our electoral system. He introduced what we call the BVAS, the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System. It is aimed at, authenticating electorates, that is voters, in a manner that someone will not come with another person's PVC, permanent voter's card, and is allowed to vote. So you are captured with your biometrics or with your facial look, So that is a very big, advancement, because it has cut off the issues of, relatively the issues of overvoting, that have been seen, that is associated with the card readers, was introduced by Professor Atahiru Cheka. So, apart from the beavers also, the presiding officers, in the polling unit level, are able to send results, transmit results using the beavers also, because it is it is Professor Mahmood that also introduced the IREV, where Nigerians are able to view results directly from the polling unit level.
Now, while I do agree with you on theoretically, these are all the things he introduced, but then he did not optimize their performance, considering some of the things he talked about, how they should function. Many of the technology he brought in did not function to the optimized level in which Nigerians' expectations were set.
Correct.
Why?
You see, technology on its own does not bring the requisite changes. It rests squarely on the humans. It rests squarely on those that are manning it. Technology does not function on its own. It's human beings that operate it. Now, the state of mind, the requisite discipline, the determination to make a difference rests with the citizens, not just the technology. During the 2023 presidential election, for instance, it was difficult to even accredit anybody. It was also difficult to send results, to the IREV. What happened? Eventually, INEC said it was a technical glitch. But moving forward, we need, if we are sincere about a true Nigeria, if we want to resuscitate this ailing country, we must go back to know what that technical glitch was. Was it deliberate on the part of the operators of the central server? Is it that somebody switched off, the central server? Or was it truly, a mechanical technical error that was not man-made?
What do you think happened?
So the Nigerians need to know there should be an investigation. If there are human beings that deliberately perpetrated that act, they should be culpable. I mean, Nigerians should see them being arraigned, being tried, and the law should take its course. But if it is as a result of technical error, Nigerians should also see the process and see, the transparency associated with it. That is the only way to heal the dwindling voter apathy we have.
I like the fact that you're moving forward as regards to what we should be resolving. But then there's still the issue of responsibility as regards who, we all know technical glitches can happen, but obviously somebody maintains or manages that process of how technology in itself works. Do you think the INEC chairman, the former INEC chairman, and this is also laying the framework towards what the expectations for the new chairman would be like, but do you think it took enough responsibilities for those moments where results were not transmitted, or those moments when people talked about the fact that, this technology is not working out as much as it should? Do you think it took enough responsibility for the moments he had to postpone elections when there was voting material issues, glitches that happened? Do you think it took enough responsibility when there was supposedly compromise with election material stored in CBN?
No, you see, I will center on what is known. I do not dwell much on assumptions,
Which is fine.
Professor Mahmood did mention that there was a technical glitch. They are working on it to find out what happened. And you can see that when the second phase of the election came in 2023, that is the governorship and state assembly elections, it's performed optimally. There was no technical glitch, and the election was very smooth. Okay? Now, you don't leave Nigerians in a bizarre. The electorates, the power, that is democracy we're talking about, where power resides with the citizens. Now, if you keep a lacuna, if you keep a gap, you now give the citizens liberty to think, to assume what must have been the probable cause of that so-called technical glitch. Okay? Now, Professor Mahmood do have consultative forum with civil societies like us, quarterly consultative forums, where we brainstorm, we proffer solutions to very discerning and very serious critical issues that affect our electoral system. Now, in all these quarterly consultative forums, we do our findings, we make recommendations, and INEC implements most of them. Now, we cannot hold Professor Mahmood responsible, really, for if there is a technical glitch, because
what about the entire election system? Do you think it could be held responsible for how things are?
Do you know Nigeria has one of the best technologies, even better than that of South Africa?
When it comes to election?
When it comes to election. Our technical system we use, the software and even the hardware we use in INEC is better than that of South Africa. It's better than a lot of countries. A lot of African countries come to Nigeria to take, manuscript, to take lectures on how to improve on the electoral system. Okay? So, our system, our technology is top-notch. But where we have problem is the citizens, those who man this technology. Do they want to make things right?
INEC officials and other staff?
We've seen professors that have gone to jail because of compromise.
Yes.
During elections. They are serving jail terms right now. We've seen ad hoc staff, in terms of youth corpers that compromise. We've also seen EOs, electoral officers, as it were. That's the head of INEC in a local government, a local government area, serving jail terms. It does not mean that, you can see the determination to ensure that people are brought to book. You understand? The determination is there, but what is really happening? Will eventually evolve and come to that, because for me, I also feel that the welfare package of the INEC staff is low.
How come?
Reality is that it is low.
Why do you say
being
so?
Characterized, the effect of the erosion of inflation has eroded.
Hold on for a moment. I want to probe what you mean by why it is low. It's a federal institution with a framework for how each of the staff would get paid, whether by level 10, 7, 14, whatever ranking you are. Yeah. It's a federal institution that gets its allocation from the federal government. So even though there's inflation, I guess it affects everybody. So when you do say their payment is low, does that considerably leave them room to think of how to augment their payment?
No, I have not said that.
No, I'm asking it as a question. I know you didn't say that.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Yes.
But what I'm saying really is that if, for instance, you take an agency of government, the former FIROS, he has been renamed now. FIROS, the kind of salary structure they have is
high compared to other institutions.
Compared to places like INEC. And in the last 10 years, this kind of training and retraining, you go abroad for training, we did not see it in INEC. Okay?
Why is that so? Under his 10-year tenure, why did he have enough people
But he has his own very serious achievement. His tenure is characterized by promoting women to directorship. A lot of women became directors more than ever since the history of INEC. He brought this inclusivity, that is, that ladies that are qualified, should also be directors in
Which
INEC.
which you did say that CSOs did meet with, that's civil society organizations, do
Sure.
meet with INEC quarterly.
Yeah.
And I was reading some of the reviews and exit statements around some of the CSO leaders and characters that there are. And I would just want you paraphrase some of the readings. I was reading something Samson Itodo of Young Africa said. He talked about how good he is of a man. That's talking about the INEC chairman, but however, he left weak institutions. What's your evaluation? What would be your own paraphrase around him? Do you think he made INEC weak than considerably he met it 10 years ago?
You see, the beauty of democracy is that it allows you to ventilate your opinion, provided you do not encroach on the fundamental rights of other citizens. Samson Itodo has opined, his position.
Yes.
Now,
And what's yours?
but for me, I differ.
Okay.
It's true that we have weak institutions in Nigeria, but Professor Mahmood Yakubu is not the cause of the weak institution we have. The weakness of the institutions has been in existence before Professor Mahmood became the chairman of INEC. But he has tried to ensure that he steps it up. And that is why he tried to leverage on the latest technology, believing that that technology would, insulate compromise in the electoral system.
It's interesting you do say that. So I was reading what Aregbesola, the former governor of Osun State, also talked about, and he's a politician, so he's not in the CSO space not to evaluate all of that. But some politicians have alluded that if under his leadership, favoritism seems to sometimes play in for some politicians than others. And Aregbesola alluded to the fact that, he has benefited from an ill-conducted election as well, which has placed him in position of power over the years as well. And it kind of makes me want to ask the question around political power and the power that comes with sitting as the INEC chairman over 93 million registered voters.
Yes.
That's a lot of power. Do you think that power should be sized down or should be amplified beyond what it is?
No, you see, if we have, as it is now, and about 93 million voters, registered voters. It is the same Professor Mahmood Yakubu that introduced what is called the CVR. The CVR is the continuous voters registration. We do it continuously. Before now, it used to be just once in about 4 years. But Professor Yakubu, introduced and made it to be periodically done in a manner that every year, those who turn 18 and above, can be availed of the opportunity to make registration, and have the franchise to be able to vote, So you can see the determination in Professor Mahmood Yakubu. I'm not standing in for him, but I think Professor Mahmood Yakubu put in his best. He tried so much, but just as a single man he is, he cannot do it all.
Talking about doing it possibly all or more than he has done, there's going to be a new INEC chairman. We have an acting chairman, currently, a first lady acting as the chairman of INEC, and much of the history I know.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because she's the longest standing commissioner as well, oldest even on the board, if I have it correctly as well.
Yes.
And she's a brilliant lawyer from much of interaction that I've had with her. It brings me again to the question of the new INEC chairman, when we're setting an agenda for him. Some even said, before you set an agenda for the new INEC chairman, should the power of the INEC chairman to nominate an INEC chairman in the first place, should it continue to come from the president, or CSOs, political parties, National Assembly should have a say, and it should not be a sitting president that will pick who would possibly be the INEC chairman barely 24 months to the next election?
Yeah, thank you so much. You see, a lot of people have opined. I saw a senator making a presentation, of people that could nominate, how Transparency International could make some nominations and all that. I understand them squarely. What they are trying to do is for the beneficiaries of an electoral system, okay, to be insulated from in other words, for the appointees, that is the INEC chairman or the national commissioners, to be insulated from undue influence of the political or the executive class or the politicians, as it were. So that is what they are going at. That's what they want. But let me take you to 2015.
Okay.
Professor Atahiru Jega was appointed by former President Goodluck Jonathan.
Yes.
And then in 2015, he conducted an election and he was bold enough to declare an election that was against the man who appointed him. So what do we say?
That's Jega.
That's Jega.
This is Yakubu. And now we're talking about an INEC chairman.
So it is the individual now. I watch the case I'm making is
you
that
alluded earlier that it's not just the individual that makes institutions.
Of course, individuals. He has done his bit. Professor Mahmood, you see, Nigerians do not recognize our heroes until when they are gone. A new INEC chairman is coming in now, and you start seeing some of the achievements. That is when you start noticing a lot of achievements that have been recorded by Professor Yakubu. I'm telling you. Because the new INEC chairman, once he's nominated and cleared by the Senate.
For inclusivity reasons. The new INEC chairperson.
She's acting and...
I mean just for the purpose of inclusivity. That's what I'm saying,
chairperson. Or chairperson.
Yes.
Okay, but some ladies still believe they should be addressed as chairman.
I don't have a comeback from that. Just go with your point, please.
So, so it is when the new chairperson or chairman of INEC is nominated, subject to the scrutiny of the Nigerian Senate, that you start seeing some of the achievements of Professor Mahmood Yakubu. You see, sometimes I feel for him, really. Because like in the 2023 general elections, the presidential election, really, results have to come in from the states. He is the chief returning officer for the election, for the presidential election. And it is his duty to collate these results and make announcements. Now, people were saying that the result that came from some places were inflated and all that. And the results has come. You have from EC 8A, B, C, D, until it gets to the federal. That is, Now, his duty is to collate the result once he has come and announce. So, whoever must have, let's assume without conceding, that there was a malpractice or tampering of the result somewhere, it was not perpetrated by the chief returning officer. And the chief returning officer is not even aware. And it will be a breach if he does not announce a result that has passed through all the stages and got to the federal for him to make pronouncements.
The new INEC chairman, and I'm trying not to refer to the barrister who is acting chairman now, because we know there's a lot of political hand involvement, political manhandling or handling that may come into confirmation of whosoever it is. And by the way, it's rare to even see somebody who has gone through the ranks of the institution eventually endorsed to take over the position. I'm not sure it has been on record since.
No, we've not seen. But we have seen those who served as directors coming in as national commissioners. We have seen them coming in as even resident electoral commissioners. So you cannot rule out.
It's never the top job.
We've not
never
seen.
So there's the likely. Let's leave it at 50-50 for her chances at that. But just to address in theory who would be the INEC chairman, who that would possibly be, I'm thinking about the agenda for such a person. There were so many things that Nigerians were not pleased with when 2023 elections did go by, right? From issue of transmission or no transmission of results, to interpretation of law, to technology, to, I mean, there was so much room for people that felt disheartened, right, with regards to that. What do you think should be the biggest focus of the next INEC chairman?
First of all, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, has given a condition for which somebody can be appointed as an INEC chairman or a national commissioner. You should be 50 and above, and you should be a person of high integrity.
And no political affiliation.
No political affiliation to any party whatsoever. But for me, I feel that phrase should be amended.
Which of them?
A lot of them.
Why?
Not be, especially partisanship. There are persons who are, once you get a news that you are about to be appointed as a national commissioner, you quickly run to your ward in your village and resign from the political party you belong. You just write a letter and all that. Meanwhile, you've been functioning. You have been a card-carrying member until probably 24 hours to your appointment.
Are you suggesting that a card-carrying politician should stand a chance to be INEC chairman?
We're not saying you will start a chance. There are a lot of allegations currently that there are a lot of resident electoral commissioners, there are a lot of national commissioners that have been known to be card-carrying members of political parties that are there now. So, for the new INEC chairman, INEC, in fact, has very, very serious issues that borders on trust deficit. To heal the wound, the right things should be done. Those that have complications, Nigerians have written, evidences are clear that there were members of a political party should be withdrawn.
Let's go back to your line of thinking. And I understand, the allegations, like you said, for the commissioners who possibly are politically exposed. But let's go back to your line of thinking on why a card-carrying member of a political party should be. What should be an INEC chairman? What benefit would that serve?
Why he should be?
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that if somebody was in a ward 24 hours before and then he hears all of that.
That's what is happening.
Okay, that's
currently.
What is happening.
So we feel that the law should encompass that anybody that will become an INEC chairman or a resident electoral commissioner or a national commissioner must not have been a card-carrying member of any political party, at least in the last 10 years.
10 years?
Yes.
Okay.
That would help us know that that person has not been partisan, and that will help do a better job. During former late President Buhari's tenure, we saw Loretta Onochie, who was a card-carrying member, has been seen in several pictures with the pictures of Son Babariga in campaigns with the former president, late president, and all that. And she was nominated as a national commissioner. We shouted until our voices cracked and all that before she was stepped down. Okay? So, if not for the fact that her own was so obvious, and people saw her during campaigns, people saw her with the uniform, of a particular political party for which the then president belonged, it would have been difficult to prove. And that is why it is better for Nigeria. If we are interested in healing the trust deficit, we should start doing the right thing. There are persons that are there now, who have been accused of being card-carrying members of political parties.
But this
And
is
there
not
are
public-
evidences to also prove.
But it's not public knowledge. It's some of the
No,
people.
it is. If you read Google and all that, there are so many
Unproven allegations.
Proved. Yes.
And they still retain their
So the
positions.
people are there, and if you want to make a headway, you don't. There are still people that will do the right job. We are interested in making sure Nigeria bounces back as a country that would have the requisite respect, at least in the League of Nations. So we should start by doing the right thing.
Do you think the right thing would be to get the president, right, sit with the National Assembly top leaders, alongside with CSOs and whoever needs to be a stakeholder, to deliberate on who will be the next INEC chair?
Well, you see, those who are beneficiaries of the function of an INEC chairman, those who participate, it's like the INEC chairman is the referee. Those who are the players there, I don't think they should discuss this matter. I think it's a matter that has to be suggested by some of us opine, for instance, that the NJC, the National Judicial Council, should be in charge of the appointment of
INEC
the INEC chairman, so that they will be insulated from the direct interference of the executive or the legislative arm of government.
But even that is not a guarantee that they will still not be. I mean, because people in NJC and some of them
Yes,
also
we
have their
know
own.
that the NJC even
Yes.
has its own problem with judges and all that. And, we know that. But at least in the eyes of Nigerians, in the eyes of the world, it is seen that there is no direct influence or contact with those who are the players. Okay? Now, I also tell you something. One of the issues I have advocated and I have written to the National Assembly about is the issue of funding for INEC. INEC should be placed in a manner that they receive their money directly from FAC. A certain percentage of the federal allocation should be channeled to INEC periodically. So that the INEC chairman does not go cap in hand to the president and commander-in-chief to ask for fund for by-elections, to ask for supplementary budget for CVRs and all that. That will also ensure that those who are saddled with the constitutional responsibility of pioneering, the commission, do the right thing. But if you make it in a manner that each time the commission needs fund, they must go to ask for the fund, you are also creating, a master-servant relationship.
And that means INEC funding should come from FAC, is what you've
Directly,
clearly said.
yes.
There's also the issue around the electoral law. I mean, as much as from 2022, there are talks about should it be reviewed once again to touch on some vital parts, including the idea around the fact that, can it be a situation where by-elections are systemized? Yes, there are other laws that may need to be made to align with regards to tenure of elected officers, but by-elections are quite expensive in Nigeria. And so there are questions about should we find a way to systemize by-elections to all be in one system instead of having Osun here, any other states, Anambra there and all over the place.
Excellent. Not just by-elections being conducted probably simultaneously. Some of us have actually opined that we are advocates of every election, including that of the local government, being conducted in one day.
One-day election in Nigeria.
One-day election in Nigeria. It is cheaper, it's more cost-effective. The issue of, you see what happens
But it's
in the
not
country.
logistics effective, is it?
It is.
How?
You only spend, Nigeria will now have to spend just a little more instead of aggregating funds to, when you look at the entire fund,
But how does
the deployment.
How does election material get to places that
they
are
will
riverine
get
areas?
very well. They will get the same manner they go. It's just that you increase if the number of boxes. Before now it was 2 or 3. Maybe this time you make it like 5 or 6, as the case may be. So in terms of logistics, I'm talking about a country that is hemorrhaging, a country that is on his knee, cap in hand, looking for where to borrow money every day. And the way to go to reduce excessive spending is to ensure that our elections are conducted, every election really, conducted in one day.
1 day election.
1 day election.
What do you think of 5-year or 6-year term president?
Excellent too.
Those are revolutionary ideas.
These are ideas that are very germane, because this issue of re-election, you see, by the time a sitting president wins an election, he has about just 1 year to do 1 or 2 work. By the second tenure, people are already saying, re-elect this person, billboards everywhere, re-elect this person, even when the man is silent. You see people who want to be noticed, from everywhere. Is that the way to go as a nation?
There's a practice that's quite common with political parties, and that is rotation of who becomes their presidential candidate, governorship candidate, right?
Yeah.
Before Professor Mahmood Yakubu came on board, there was Professor Atairu Jega, who is from the northern part of the country. And then there was Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who's also from the northern part of the country. And there have been talks about, and these are clever talks, right, about the fact that are there no other regional extractions where the leadership of INEC could come from there that would also provide inclusivity to those regions, would also provide democratic knowledge diverse from northern region. What do you think of that?
You see, most of these things, come from the Constitution has arrogated the rights of the decision to, determine who becomes the INEC Chairman to the President and Commander-in-Chief.
Is that too much?
Now, I think it is too much.
Why?
Let me tell you, it is not every president that reasons alike. Now, when former President Goodluck Jonathan was president, he felt that he cannot be president and an INEC chairman will still be from the south.
Okay.
Morris Iwu was removed and a northerner was brought. Now, and then northerner conducted an election in 2015 and
Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes, Goodluck Jonathan was ousted.
Yeah.
Now, it was incumbent on the late President Buhari to have adjusted again, to have brought, nominated some other person from the south, But instead, he made Professor Mahmood to go for a second tenure. You see the issue. So the individual here is the issue. The individual who becomes or who is the president and commander-in-chief. He determines how to. But the perception, the way you steer the affairs of the country those are things that make the populace love you. And at the end of the day, when you must have left the country or the earth, what would you be remembered for? Okay? So these are issues some politicians don't even think about. That one day they will leave this earth and they have to be remembered for something. Would they be remembered for being bigots? Would they be remembered for being tribalistic? Would they be remembered for, siding one section of the country entirely? So these are critical issues because all of us, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim, we also believe, the two major religions believe that there is life thereafter. So these are critical issues we must also reflect about.
All right. Well, one more thing I would like to ask you, which is about, we've not seen anybody from CSO space nominated as a national commissioner or just given the opportunity to bring in that diverse voice. Do you think, as part of that process that sees a new INEC leadership? Because considerably now, the INEC chairman has gone. It's going to be a matter of just a few more months before you start to see a level of retirement, level of, oh, this person's tenure is done as well. And there'll be room to bring in diverse voices into the leadership in INEC under the chairman. Do you think it's time that we bring in people from the CSO space to possibly take part in that conversation?
Yeah, of course. The people from the fourth rim has to be brought in. They will give you the requisite advice. They will speak up. We speak reality, okay? They will tell you how it ought to be in a sane society. You understand? I think that's what makes the difference. If there are no civil society, you see, one mistake fundamental mistakes Nigerians do make is that they feel that anybody that is a critic of an administration hates it, he doesn't like him, doesn't want the president to succeed. No. The idea is for them to be checks and balances. In fact, for those who crafted the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, they brought in some checks and balances. It's just that sometimes these checks and balances are often abused. They are not, done. They are not replicated the manner for which the authors of that constitution, or actually wanted it to be, So there should be checks and balances. And those people that are critiquing, a government and profiling solutions should not be shut down, should not be, after all, our president too was a critic, he was a very serious critic and a real democratic force
to reckon with. Well, I have to say a big thank you to you, Dr. Gabriel Nwambu, for coming on Volume with FemiDlive. So grateful to you. Dr. Gabriel Nwambu is the Director General of Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness. Okay, you want to read up more about what they do and the extent of their coverage and the impact of their work, you have to read more about that on their website by searching for them using that. So I'll be putting up a little bit more about his profile during the description of the video there and there. Well, many thanks to you. Now we look forward to your comments, okay? This is how we set the culture around the elections going, getting to understand what you think. So write in, let's know what you think. I will be excited to get your comments shared with him as well to get your feedback or possibly engage as well in many of those platform conversations. All right. Thank you so much again. God bless you. Okay. Catch up with you in the comment section. I'm Femi D. Amele.